Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hit some of the problems that are part of the homework tonight. Trying to get some that are representative of the assignment as a whole. I've picked some that I'm going to go through on this side, and then I'll hit some on the other side as well. This is working through our exponent rules. Some of them are using those rules in isolation, but we're also starting to have to use more than one rule at a time within the same problem. So let's go through looking at some of these. Number one, we are multiplying exponents. So our directions say tell whether the product of the powers can be used to simplify the expression. So it's basically, does the rule work in this situation? Number one, our base is 8 to the 4th, and then we have 8 to the 7th. Those have the same base, so yes, we can do it. So we end up with 8, 4 plus 7, and that's going to end up with 8 to the 11th power. Okay? Then we look at number 2. Does our rule work? We have a base of 2, we have a base of 3. Those are not the same, so you cannot use the rule. So no, cannot use rule. Okay? And then go ahead and finish up 3 and 4. Looking at the next section, multiply or divide. With number 5, we are multiplying multiplying these exponents. So that is 6 to the 4th times, that is 6 to the 8th. So when we multiply exponents, we add, or with the same base, we add the exponents. So that's 6 to the 4th plus 8, and that's going to end up being 6 to the 12th. Looking at number 7, same thing. It's x to the 5th plus 7. That's going to be x to the 12th. Number 9, we're dividing exponents. Dividing powers with the same base. So we subtract. So that is w to the 11 minus 6. So that gives us w to the 5th power. Looking at number 11. Okay? 9 to the 8th divided by 9 to the 7th. So it's going to give us 9 to the 8 minus 7. That is 9 to the 1st power, or just 9. Number 15. Okay, we have our base is negative 5. Okay, we're multiplying, so we're going to add our exponents. And that's going to give us negative 5 to the 9th power. Number 16. We are dividing exponents with the same base. So our base is negative 15, and we have 7 minus 3. That's going to give us negative 15 to the 4th power. Looking at number 17, it says, describe and correct the error in the solution. Okay, so describe and correct. So when we look, we are multiplying exponents with the same base. So we need to think back to our rule, think back to what we did up here, and we're going to have to do that same thing. So looking at this step right here, see what they did wrong, and then explain what their error was. Looking at the next section, it says determine the number that correctly completes the statement. So we have a missing value that has to be filled in. So 6 to the 4th times 6 to the something, question mark, equals 6 to the 11th. So we know that we add our exponents when we're multiplying. So 4 plus whatever that question mark has to equal 11. So when I think about our equations and do our inverse operations, 11 minus 4, because if we think through with our equations, that is going to give us our answer, and that's going to be 7. So that question mark right there would be 7. So 6 to the 7th power. Okay. let's go ahead and look at number 20. Okay, with dividing, we subtract the powers, we subtract the exponents. So 9 minus whatever that question mark is going to equal 8. So when I think through that, I know that 9 minus 1 is going to equal 8. So that means that this is to the first power, or just 11. Okay. Number 22, simplifying the expression. So remember, if it's expanded out, we have 4 times p squared times 4 times p to the 6. 4 times 4 is 16. Then we add our exponents 2 and 6. That's going to give us p to the 8th. So that is our answer. Looking at number 24, okay? We're going to, if we expand it out, we have 6 squared times a to the 3rd times b to the 5th times 6 cubed times a to the 4th times b to the 4th. So using our rules, 6, we have 2 and 3 as our exponents. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, times a's. Looking at our a's, we have 3rd power and 4th power. Those are going to add together to give us 7th power. Okay, and then b's, 5th power, 4th power. So that's going to be b to the 9th power. So that gives us 6 to the 5th power, a to the 7th, b to the 9th as our answer. Number 26, we're dividing. Okay, we're actually using more than one rule here on number 26. So let's look at the top first and simplify there. Multiplying exponents, that's going to be z to the 4 plus 3 is 7 over z squared. Now we're going to subtract. Now we're left with z to the 7 minus 2, which is 5. Looking at number 28, okay? When I look right here, this is to the 2nd power, and then 23 to the 1st power. Those are going to subtract. So that's going to end up with 23 to the 1st power, which is 23. And then we look at our m's. We have to the 19th and to the 13th. 19 minus 13 is going to give us m to the 6th power. Looking at number 30. Okay, same thing. Let's look at our first number here. Okay, that's going to be 10 to the 7 minus 3 is 4. And then we look at our x's. We have to the 14th and 4. So that's going to end up being 14 minus 4 is 10. And then our y's. 12 minus 9 is 3. And that is our final answer on number 30. All right, looking at the back side, we're going to go through and we're going to solve some of these. Some of these are matching, some of them are not. And guys, remember that the riddle is not a thing, that's been messed up, so do not even worry about the riddle. So let's look at a couple of them from each section. Okay, looking at, let's look right here in the first section. -5 to the 7th times -5 to the 4th. Our base is -5. And then we're going to add our exponent, 7 plus 4. That's going to give us 11. Okay, so that means that for number 2, E is our answer. Okay, let's go ahead and let's look at another one. Number 3, remember that 5 to the 8th power divided by 5 to the 5th, that is the same thing as if it is written like this. We still subtract. So that's going to be 5 to the 8 minus 5, and that gives us to the 3rd power. So that means that number 3 is going to be W. Okay, let's go ahead and move down to the next section. Let's look at number 6. Okay, we're multiplying powers, so we have to add them. X to the 9th. And that's going to leave us with x to the 9 plus 2. That's going to be x to the 11th. So that means that G is going to be our answer here. Let's look at number 9. Remember that when we don't see the exponent, that really it's to the first power. So we're going to subtract. 4 minus 1 gives us 3. So that means that for number 9, it is T. Let's go ahead and look at the next section up here with number 11. So here, picking out a couple of them to work from. Let's look at number 12. Okay, our base is negative 3, and then we're going to add our exponents. 2 plus 3 is to the 5th power. Let's go ahead and let's look at number 14. So we have dividing, so we're going to subtract our exponents. Our base is negative 8. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, number 15, keep in mind that this, even though there's not an exponent right there, it is to the first power. Okay, let's move on down to the next section. Let's look right here on number 16. 10 to the 3rd times 10 to the 1st. So we're going to add those. 10 to the 3 plus 1 is 4. Let's look at number 19. We're going to add the exponents. So we end up with 2 to the 2 plus 3 plus 2. We're adding up all three numbers. 2 plus 3 plus 2. And when we add those all up, that ends up giving us 2 to the 7th power. Okay, 3rd column on our paper. Picking out a couple of these to be able to work on. Let's go ahead and let's look at number 22. When you do this, our base is negative 40. Okay, 4 minus 3 is what you're going to end up with. So our base is still negative 40 because 4 minus 3 is 1. So we end up with negative 40 as our answer. Looking at number 24, this is 9 to the 1st, 9 to the 1st. So you're going to add those up. So go ahead and add those up and finish up with number 24. Looking at our last section here, number 26, okay, we have to figure out what n equals. So we know that 7 plus n equals 10. When we solve our equation, then we can figure out what that equals, okay? We have to get n by itself, minus 7, minus 7. That's going to let you know that n equals 3. So for number 26, H is the correct answer. Okay, number 27 is going to work just like that. Looking at number 28, we're dividing. So we know that this is the same thing as our other problems when we've had 12 to the 10th divided by 12 to the n equals 12 to the 2nd. Okay, so 10 minus n equals 2. So looking at that, okay, we can go through our equation steps and be able to figure that out. And then we can end up with minus 10, going through all the way through the steps. And that lets us know that negative n equals negative 8. Okay, well, divide by negative 1 gives me positive n. Do that on the other side, n equals 8. So number 28, our answer is, that's an A for number 28. Looking at number 30, okay, trust yourself when you're working through number 30. You're going to subtract the exponents. So m to the 4 minus 4 equals, and you know what 4 minus 4 equals, so that's going to give you m, and then you're going to have whatever your exponent is right there, okay? So go ahead and finish that one up.